All right, 6 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I will do a roll call vote real quick, or not vote, but roll call. Counselor Offelman? Here. See you. Counselor Hutchison?
Here.
Counselor Youngman?
Here.
Counselor Merritt?
Present.
Counselor Law?
Present.
I'm here, and Counselor Papke should be absent. All right, I don't hear him. So
Yeah, he gave me an email that he was unavailable tonight. I think you got it too, Mayor.
yes, sir. Before we move into the State of the City address, I wanted to read something. Due to the COVID-19 Omicron variant, we're having the meeting virtually. This was based on our efforts to mitigate the exposure and spread of the virus and for the safety of the public, city staff, and officials. This was also done after consultation with local health authorities. This necessity did not present itself until yesterday. So that's why it was a quick decision to do this. Pursuant to our policies adopted for virtual meetings, with the exception of public hearings, which tonight we have none, public comment may be submitted by mail or email at the information posted on our website. Any public comments received will be part of our official record. All right, well, I will move on to the State of the City address first. I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for the short notice to be here on virtually. The city of Prineville moves into a new year with hope, courage, and a desire to do better than the year before. 2021 brought new challenges involving the pandemic. We experienced a heightened level of interest in local government from our citizens. Ever-changing rules from our state agencies led to uncertainty within the city and within the citizens who look to us for leadership. Our council members and staff had to stay ever vigilant and fluid as we navigated the never-ending rule changes and suggestions from state agencies. Through all the uncertainty, we came through this past year together and kept our city operating successfully. Despite the pandemic creating significant challenges and still weighing on us, we have much to celebrate. Our council and staff passed our second biannual budget, which expands our infrastructure and improves our capabilities, all while being environmentally conscious. There's a continued interest in a biomass project, and the aquifer storage project is in full swing. Businesses are still investing in Prineville, and when I drive through town, I see many small businesses thriving. I'm proud that our city is resilient and continues to move forward in the face of uncertain times. Prineville has always existed on the frontier. We do as we've always done, adapting to a changing world while maintaining our independent spirit. I would like to list some accomplishments for 2021 by department. Our staff has worked hard to continue the success that Prineville is known for, and these accomplishments are just a small glimpse. Though there are many accomplishments, I would like to highlight a few from each department. The Police and Dispatch Center, the Police Department, moved into our new patrol and dispatch building in May of 2021. We conducted our first statewide 40-hour CIT, Crisis Intervention Training, at our new facility. Almost every officer has now been trained in a 40-hour CIT class. The Dispatch Center. Dispatch moved into the new PD facility in April. We have established a new backup center in the county's EOC building that will be fully functional with phone and radio capabilities, ensuring minimal disruption of services in case of severe emergency or loss of 911 services in the primary center. Community-related accomplishments. Partnered with a Prineville citizen to help build her nonprofit organization called Community Kindness. Unlike Shop with a Cop and Random Acts of Kindness, which are based around the holiday season, this year-round program was built to allow more opportunities to humanize the badge and randomly give back to our children, elderly, and veterans. This foundation is solely funded by one local Prineville family. Railroad Department. The railroad maintained a fund balance at policy over for the 6th and 7th consecutive years. We grew our businesses through the freight depot with 3 new customers. Wisewood, transloading bulk wood pellets. Basex of Redmond, storing material in the warehouse, yield an average of $2.80 per car per day. Flint Contractors, plywood distribution. Meadow Lakes. The 2021 calendar year marked new revenue highs in all major golf course revenue streams, including green fees, cart fees, driving range, annual passes, and merchandise. Total revenue increased by 18% over 2020, which was the previous high revenue year prior to 2021. They completed a full renovation of the irrigation system, including replacement of all sprinkler heads, lateral piping, mainline isolation valves, technology upgrade, removal of existing field satellites and sprinkler heads, replacement of river pump station, VFD, and a new weather station. Public Works, in the streets. Completed the reconstruction of North Main and North 10th Street intersection. By reconstructing the existing offset T alignment, pedestrian safety was greatly improved. The Rails to Trails grant was complete. This project created a paved trail along the abandoned railroad right-of-way from Combs Flat to Juniper Street and included a safe crossing of Highway 26. Water Department. Completed construction of a state-of-the-art aquifer storage and recovery project. This unique project will provide water to the city of Prineville for the next 30 to 50 years. This environmentally friendly project is drought and climate change resistant and is expected to put Prineville on the map as a water secure area to develop. Wastewater. Construction was completed on the wastewater treatment plant irrigation system upgrade. By installing over 12,000 feet of buried mainline, maintenance issues will be greatly reduced. Public Works. Implementation of the Barnes Butte Recreational Area Master Plan and a joint community-wide master plan with the Kirk County Parks and Rec Department began. Engagement by the public in the development of this property has been wonderful and is expected to continue into 2022. Expected to continue into 2022 with the continued implementation of these plans. By utilizing the natural environment, Prineville is reducing costs, protecting the environment, and providing environmentally friendly development, such as parks and trails for the benefit of all. The airport. Completed the Runway 28 construction project. This project includes all new runway lighting, signage, and a taxiway relocation and improvements. Accomplished a high level of coordination on construction projects to enable incoming summer fire crews to start on time. Planning Department. As of December 31st, the Planning Department processed 173 applications this calendar year. This is up significantly from the 138 applications last calendar year. It is not surprising with COVID-19 restrictions waning. However, it is surprising with the cost increases for labor and materials. This number includes 102 new dwellings, of which 83 were standard stick-built homes. Single-family homes remain the dominant type of residential development. However, there is significant potential for large multifamily development to begin in 2022. Finance Department. As the stewards of taxpayer money, fiscal responsibility is a key to the vitality of any small town. Our city leaders continue to carefully invest the city's money to provide the most impact for the money. They were awarded the prestigious ACFR Annual Consolidated Financial Report Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 20, fifth year in a row for that. GFOA Award, winning budget 15 years in a row, and our second biennial budget was submitted for the award in September. The IT department completed the relocation of IT offices, servers, and infrastructure supporting the police department and 911 call center as they transitioned into the new facility. The Human Resources Risk Management Department stayed abreast of all state and federal COVID-19 regulatory updates and implemented facility-specific safety procedures for employees to follow. Continued training department heads on equity, diversity, and inclusion and leadership development. And a council goal-related achievement, the Aquifer Storage and Recharge Project, ASR, is operational, storing millions of gallons in our confined aquifer, providing water capacity certainty for both our citizens and businesses for several decades into the future. This project has received national recognition as an environmentally responsible way to manage this limited precious resource. There are many achievements I have not listed, and there are also many challenges that the city faced throughout the year. But we have been successful at planning for the future and ensuring that the city of Prineville continues to move forward. As the oldest town in Central Oregon, we've weathered good times and bad. The decisions we make today are made with the long haul in mind. Behind the scenes, it takes hard work, compromise, planning, discussion, and working together as a team to make this successful operation. Challenges are met head on by both the council and the staff working together as a cohesive unit, which has proven to only set the city apart from the rest of the state. Prineville is where people come to turn "can we" into "we can." The same grit we've always shown is now being used to strengthen Prineville for the next generation. I look to the coming year with some uncertainty, but also with confidence that our city council and staff are well equipped to meet any challenge. The past year has challenged all of us. We are stronger now than before, and our staff is more resilient. With all that is going on in the world, I can promise you this, that our city council and staff will continue to make Prineville successful for years to come. Our key focus is maintaining our way of life while doing everything we can to ensure the success of Prineville's next generation. Thank you. Mayor Jason Beebe, City of Prineville. Just wanted to say I did keep that very short from all the great things that have happened in the city, and I could probably be here talking for over an hour just on all the things that were reported. So I personally want to thank
recording in progress.
Personally wanted to thank the rest of the council. It was a stressful year for us, and it was a stressful year for the staff. And I especially thank the staff for being here every day to keep this city in operation. All right, are there any additions to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we do have a couple changes here. Under council business, item 4, intent to award solar field fence project with Mike and Eric. We have removed that, and we will reschedule that at the next meeting. And what I'd like to replace item 4 with is a discussion and ultimately a vote on the future council meetings process and protocols. Do you have anything else to add to that, Mayor?
I do. I should probably put this under council business, city manager's review, so it'd be item number 6.
Okay.
I'd like to discuss that before our next meeting. Just give an update real quick and what I'd like to see before we have our next meeting.
Okay, so we'll add item number 6, city manager's review process. That would be all the changes that I think we have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda, the regular meeting brief. If everybody's had a chance to read the consent agenda, if there's no discussion, open to a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve this consent agenda as written.
This is Steve. I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion before we vote? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Counselor Uffelman,
Aye.
Counselor Hutchison,
Aye.
Counselor Youngman,
Aye.
Counselor Merritt,
Aye.
Counselor Law,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. Passed unanimously. All right, since this was short notice, was there any in our section for visitors, appearances, and requests? I don't believe I saw any emails.
I checked with James. James, if you're on, I believe the answer is we did not receive any.
Okay.
That is correct.
Thank you,
All right,
James.
thank you. All right, we'll move on to council presentations. Kirk County Foundation update, Brandy Ebner and Tom J.
Hi, Mayor Beebe and the council. Thank you so much for allowing the Kirk County Foundation some time on your agenda tonight. We just like to get with all of our key partners and supporters once a year and give you an update on what we've accomplished and what we're looking forward to. 2021 was a very busy year for the Kirk County Foundation. The last couple of years, we've really strengthened our programming and tried to grow in various areas in the community that we saw need in. And so we've been quite busy. And I along with Jason's comment earlier, I could talk for an hour about all the great things we've done, but I'll try to keep it to 10 minutes or less. So going through the kind of the program pillars that we call them, we have four main focuses that we stress that all of our programs must fit under. The first one is around our arts and culture component. The Kirk County Cultural Coalition has been able to maintain their grant program. We are the fiscal sponsor for that, which Tom J is not only the foundation president, he's also the Cultural Coalition chair. They just were able to get their 2022 grants worked on in the last few weeks, and those will be announced shortly. And they've also found out there will be additional funding coming to provide more arts and community grants later into the spring. So that money comes from the Oregon Cultural Trust. When people invest in the Cultural Trust with a donation, they get tax deductible receipt and such. But then money also gets then floated back down into the counties, and each county it receives money each year to award specifically to local arts and cultural programs. And so over the years, we've awarded dozens of programs and provided support for things like our music theater camp, Ochiko Players Club, activities that different nonprofits have done with arts and such. So we've been excited that more money is coming to Kirk County from that. In 2021, we were able to bring back Picnic in the Park, which was very anticipated and something the community was excited about. The free concert series is always something that people look forward to, and not being able to do that in 2020 was difficult. So we were glad to bring that back in 21. And again, partnered as we've with many years with the Kirk County Fair. So we offered 5 concerts on Wednesdays in sequence throughout July and August. And we're already gearing up for the 2022 season, which we're anticipating adding a concert to the schedule due to the way the calendar falls. So our hope is that there will be 6 concerts in a row this summer coming up. One thing we are trying to do with Picnic in the Park is really bring back the focus on bringing different diversity and different types of bands and things to the community. So maybe this not a band that you could see every Friday night somewhere in town, but a group that's slightly different and can possibly bring a different cultural element or sound to them. So if any of you know bands, please pass them on to Tom J. He's also the chair of that. We're looking for our sponsors right now and just locking in the details. And then just a few months ago, we were excited. We were approached earlier in the year that the Prineville Music Theater Camp was looking for a new fiscal sponsor. They'd been under the Lutheran Church for many years successfully, but they were having more and more grants require them to be under a 501c3 fiscal sponsor and not a church organization. So for that and some other reasons, they reached out to us. and asked if that was something that we could take on. And after discussion on the board, we officially adopted in September the Prineville Music Theater Camp program as a fiscal sponsorship of the foundation. It's a very well-oiled machine with great success. They are maxing out the number of kids that they can have participate in the program each summer, and we look forward to assisting them with their efforts and making sure that that program is able to continue through 2022 as well. Our next goal is under leadership, and we've put a lot of effort into that as well. Our goal was to bring back Leadership Kirk County, which some of you may remember. The focus around that is providing education as well as just exposure and information to adults who might want to take on a stronger leadership role in our community. And that could be volunteering, it could be becoming part of a nonprofit board, or it could be running for council. Due to COVID, we have just kept pushing that back because we really feel strongly that it needs to be an in-person activity. The networking and the opportunities to collaborate, sitting around a table together is very important for our past participants. And so we really feel that hopefully September of 2022 will be the year we can bring back Leadership Kirk County. But while we were working on that, an opportunity came about for us to launch a pilot program at the Crook County High School in partnership with the school district. And we are doing a youth leadership program with the junior AVID classes. And that program launches this month and will be on Fridays through the next 2 terms. We have volunteers who are coming in, doing a variety of presentations around leadership skills, offering hands-on opportunities for the students to think about, if they were mayor, what position would they take on an issue, or thinking about the community as a whole. How do you really make sure that you're engaging all community members in decision-making and feedback, and not just going forward with an idea that you think is great. So we're really looking forward to that. As I mentioned, it's a pilot program. We're going to test it this year and then work with the school district to determine whether it continues in the future in the same model, whether it's expanded to additional students, whether it ends up breaking into a summer camp instead. We're just kind of floating the idea and seeing how the response is from the students as well as the instructors in the school district on that. We are excited to partner after a couple-year hiatus with the city in doing the If I Were Mayor contest this last spring. We're moving forward with that again this year, and we were excited. As you guys saw, our winning student from the high school went on and won 3rd place in the state. So we're hoping to encourage more students to participate in that this year. And we have a fantastic sponsor from a local business that is providing the cash prizes for that. So if you know any youth ages, they're in 4th to 12th grade in Kirk County, they can enter the contest with either a poster, an essay, or a video, depending on age, and talk about what they'd do if they were mayor. So that's been a great program. We're hoping to continue working with Mayor Beebe and the city on that. Our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee continued meeting twice a month through the whole entire year and having some really great discussions. And it was an opportunity more than anything for folks to talk about things that they were seeing out in the community and in the world around us, ask questions to get clarification from various individuals in our community. The goal with that group was to put on an event called the Good Neighbor Day in honor of the Good Neighbor Day in September, where they the world kind of encourages that Mr. Rogers mentality of go out and just be nice and be a good neighbor. The concept behind the event was going to be a free resource fair type style event in Pioneer Park, where we would invite a variety of community agencies, nonprofits, organizations to come out and set up tables with hands-on activities and information in the community, just to come out and learn about what is offered in Prineville and Kirk County. It would be a way for civic groups to potentially get new volunteers, for community agencies to make community members more aware of the opportunities that they provide and programs and such. And really, more than anything, to get people to collaborate in a positive way, get to know their neighbor. We'd worked with the city GIS department, was going to do a big map. I'm sorry, it's county GIS, and have a big map of the county where people could earmark what community sections they're in and which neighborhoods. So of course, with COVID, we ended up having to postpone that, and we didn't feel comfortable encouraging people to gather and speak with each other in close proximity during what was a flare-up in September. So that event is again going to be on the books for this following September, and the committee is going to do a fantastic job running that. In replacing that event, we did run a community-wide contest where we encouraged people to submit acts of kindness, and then we drew an act at random that would win a gift card. And we had a wonderful little girl win who had done a really great thing for a senior in the community and had gifted him her special, I think it was a special rock that she had as part of her kindness. And it's a great little story that we'll be advertising, and we gifted the family a gift card to Erickson's Thriftway, which they did a matching sponsorship of, and we gifted the girl a gift card to Yo Central, which they were excited about. So we liked that idea, and even if we can go back to the in-person event, we want to continue encouraging our community to be kind, be neighborly, and honor those who who are having those ways of life, and so encouraging people to reach out. Our scholarship program, every single year since I got hired 4.5 years ago, has continued growing. It was led for many, many years by Gail Merritt and Molly Key, and fantastic ladies who got it off the ground and growing, and it just keeps growing. All the scholarships are growing in dollars. All of our endowments that are invested with Oregon Community Foundation has continually been seeing net profits, which allow us to have more funds to grant when it comes scholarship time. And we have more scholarships in the works right now. Last year, overall, we awarded about $75,000 in scholarships to graduating seniors and former seniors who are currently college students in our community. And we're always looking for new scholarships or opportunities in the community to get the word out about our scholarship program. So if you know of any, please pass them on to us. And then our last pillar under community has been one that's been very active. Our Kirk County on the Move program has continued to meet virtually and has wrapped up the biking and walking maps in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce. They're working on a variety of programs that, again, just bringing everyone in the health community, even region-wide, to the table. We're being talked about in Bend. We have people in Bend saying, man, I wish we could have a group like Prineville has with On the Move. It's so great. Because once a month, all those people are coming together and sharing ideas and asking for help, and the right agencies are getting connected. And so the main key with On the Move, especially with COVID happening, has been building networking and building those connections and collaborations. So watch for that. Donna and her team have more programs coming up. And when we get back to more in-person events, we'll be able to relaunch the Mother's Day Garden event and continue with the Share Your Bounty and programs like that. Just like Picnic in the Park, we are excited to bring back the Patty Pint Run in March. Due to COVID restrictions, we limited each race slot to only 50 runners, and we spaced them 15 minutes apart. Even with everything happening in the world in March, we had over 400 participants throughout the day. People had a blast. It was cold and windy and chilly, but they didn't care. Our timing company from Eugene said that we are probably the most enthusiastic community they go to, especially with some of the costumes that people come up with, Seth Crawford. So we love that event. It's just an opportunity for the community to come together and have fun to raise money for good causes. With that, we donated $5,000 to the Oregon Tooth Taxi, which is a 38-foot mobile dental unit that goes out into rural communities and provides dental screening and health and dental work for youth, mostly low-income children. And they work with school districts when they do that. It's been figured out that for every $5,000 invested into the tooth taxi, there is over $30,000 of actual dental work given to children who need it. We were also a donor to the Kirk County Parks and Rec's Happy Healthy Hearts Scholarship Program. We gifted them $1,000 from the proceeds on that event, and are hoping for a good relationship there for Parks and Rec and Patty Pint to work on in the future. Again, we're bringing Patty Pint back in March of 2022, and we plan at this time to do it as one big race again, unless COVID requires us to break it back down into the smaller segments to space people out. I'm proud to say that even though we had over 400 people come through the race, We were not aware of a single COVID case that came from that gathering and that event. So the team behind that does a phenomenal job making sure everyone is safe and socially distanced and adhered to practices. And then kind of the last program we took on as a fiscal sponsorship in 2021 and in January, or sorry, of late in 21. In January of 21, we officially adopted it, and it was our holiday partnership program here in Kirk County. We're just wrapping up the numbers now. About 1,200 individual residents were served by that program. That includes providing food boxes, as well as gifts and basic necessity items for children under 17, low-income seniors, and adults with disabilities in our community. We have always been so gracious for the assistance with the Kirk County Fairgrounds and the OSU Extension to allow usage of the Clover Club and Carrie Foster Hall. Both of those buildings, along with dozens of volunteers, make that program possible every single year. This year, we really saw an increase in donations of product, of items, of food. We had a fantastic chair who rallied our food drives starting in October. And so you probably saw a lot of businesses out there competing to get more food than another business for about 3 months, which really helped us in the food area. There were times this last summer, we did not know if we could even get food in shipments. Grocery stores all said, we'll do our best, but we don't know what's going to appear when we get the order in. So it was a little nerve-wracking to know we'd have enough food, but we were able to fully fulfill every food box, actually above and beyond our goal. And we'll continue that program for years to come as it's now part of the Kirk County Foundation. So this is just kind of a quick recap. There's lots of other things we've been working on. We have a fantastic board of directors. We have greatly appreciated having Ray Law serve as the city representative on our board. We have our 5 founding partners still with seats on the board. A couple of those have opened up and we've refilled them. We also have about 6 positions on the board due to term limits that will be open this year. So if you know of anyone who would like to serve on the Kirk County Foundation, we would love to have them. And each of the programs I mentioned also have their own committees that we're always looking for volunteers who could serve as little as 3 or 4 hours a year to as much as 3 to 4 hours a month and in whatever area that you're passionate about. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any interest in helping our programming. Thank you so much to the city each year for being one of our core sponsor supporters. We receive a $5,000 donation towards our operations budget, which really, we stretch every penny of that. A lot of our programming has funding, but it's restricted funding. And so when you see and hear that we have, $1 million with Oregon Community Foundation, that's fantastic, but not a dollar of that is able to be used for running the Kirk County Foundation or our scholarship programs and such. So those community donations, the support from the city, the county, Parks and Rec, the chamber, and the school board is what keeps the Kirk County Foundation functioning and able to run all of our programs. So I want to thank the council for supporting us each year and all the council members who support our various programs. We really do appreciate it. And then lastly, this is the last time you'll hear me. I have officially resigned from the Kirk County Foundation. It was a very, very difficult choice to make, but I needed to make some changes in my life and my personal life. So I'm wrapping up my role, and the foundation board is out searching for a fantastic executive director right now who will come along and replace me and keep the programs growing and do what they find best. So if any of you are aware of somebody with nonprofit experience who wants to work in a community that they're passionate about to expand and work on our programs and all the great things we're doing, please let Tom J know. It'll be open until the end of the month, and we are accepting resumes, applications with a supplemental question form that people can find on kirkcountyfoundation.org website. So we'll look forward to that new person coming along. I am doing everything I can to be organized for them, but I know they'll have questions, and I've told the board I will be available at any time to help that new director fulfill the tasks that they need to and continue on the great work our programs have been doing. So are there any questions at all?
Brandy, I just want to thank you and your leadership of all being successful on all these programs that you mentioned. And it sounds like most of them have gone above and beyond what you've done in years past. So kudos to you. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. It's definitely not me. We have a fantastic team. We could not do what we do without just dozens of dedicated, passionate volunteers, as well as our board members who make sure all these programs happen. So thank you. And I know that they'll be continuing everything along tomorrow without any problem at all. So.
Well, Brandy, thank you very much for your commitment to this community, and good luck to you in the future. I'm sure this won't be the last that we see of you. So.
I'm not leaving Prineville.
Well, I know, but I meant at these meetings.
Nope, I'll be back for something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there anybody else from the council that have anything to say or would like to say something to Brandy?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bray.
I was just going to say thank you for everything. You have been amazing, and I wish you nothing but success in your new position, and we will all miss you dearly.
Thank you, Ray. It's been great working with you.
And Brandy, this is Gail. I just want to congratulate with your new job, and I'm sure our paths will cross, and it was great working with you on the foundation.
Thank you. I feel the same. I definitely won't be a stranger. I
Right.
still will own my own events in town and still help out. So thank you.
This is Patricia Youngman. Thank you so very much. I'm always just so pleased to see you, and you've done such a wonderful job for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't mean for this to be about me. I wanted to find a new director. But thank you for all the kind words. I really appreciate it. And it was a very difficult decision. It breaks my heart to leave this position, but they'll find someone who will take it to new levels, I'm sure.
And this is Tom J., Foundation President. I definitely would like to thank Brandy for all her past energy and enthusiasm she's put into her job. I don't know how people can keep up with her. Hopefully we can find somebody with that much enthusiasm and energy. I'd also like to thank the city of Prineville for partnering with us and helping us keep this going. I think it's a wonderful organization to have in the community. And that's all.
Thank you, Tom. All right, if there's no other questions for Brandy or any comments, hope both of you have a good night, and thank you for sharing with us tonight in this report.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right. We will move on to council business. Item number 4, future council meetings.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to start this off with some information, and then I think the council needs to have a discussion on how we move forward with how we conduct our council meetings in the next period of time. And with that said, I'd like to advise the council that I've reached out to Katie Plum at the Crook County Health Department, the director. You all know Katie. She was able to send me some updated information late this afternoon. I have forwarded that to each of you on the council and on the leadership staff. And just real quickly, I want to share some highlights from that. If we look at Crook County COVID cases by week, this past week ending on the 8th, we were at 245 known cases. That's an obvious record. That's the most we've seen since we started collecting the data. The closest one was 201, which was just about 4 weeks ago, 5-6 weeks ago, I guess. What's more compelling than that is on the Tri-County Central Oregon region, the previous record was set the week of Christmas at 1,583 cases, which was the record over 1,268 back in late August. Last week through the 8th, 4,201. So a significant increase in known cases. On hospitalizations, fully vaccinated versus not fully vaccinated, we do see more vaccinated people contracting the Omicron variant. That number, January 22, is at 35%. Fully vaxxed people have reported contracting COVID. That's the biggest number. It was usually the last 4 or 5 months in the 12% up to 25%. Overall, since last March, 16% of vaccinated people are contracting COVID, fully vaccinated people. What the other interesting statistic is patient count, vaccinated versus non, by age group. Very small percentage of hospitalizations across the board, with the exception of the 85 and older. It's still less likely to be hospitalized if you're vaccinated, but certainly in 18 to 44 through 65 to 84, very small percentage of fully vaccinated people are ending up in the hospital. So that trend continues, although the number of vaccinated people who are contracting and being hospitalized is going up. So the takeaways from this is it's a numbers game. And for us here at the city, making that decision yesterday to move to virtual and tighten up our protocols is basically an operational decision that the leadership team made as it relates to the fact that, as you all know, we're a very lean city in terms of headcount and full-time equivalents. We started out 10 years ago with 68, 69 full-time equivalents. This past year, we've added some people, we've added some police officers, and we're up to about 75, 76. To put that in perspective, Bend over the last 5 years is up 40%. We're up not even 10. So I think that's an indication of how we operate. We're lean, we cross-train, we've kept our head count low. It's the right thing to do. It's worked well for us with the new technologies in the public works area specific to ASR and wastewater, along with our needs at the police department. We are adding when we need to and strengthening that team. That being said, because we're so lean, an example would be at the railroad. If Matt and one other person is out because they're ill, it shuts down the railroad. We need 3 people to run the railroad. And more importantly than that, not to discount the importance of the railroad, but in public safety, if Dale loses 3 or 4 officers, it cripples our ability to have 24-hour service and 2 sets of officers on duty. And so if we had a traffic incident on one end of town and a domestic disturbance on the other end of town, we could not cover that. And we already serve a backup because of the situation at Crook County Sheriff's Office, where we cover them when they're unable to have that 24-hour service. So we have to take steps operationally to ensure the safety of our citizenry, make sure those critical services are available, and protect the health and welfare of our community, not only our staff and our team members, but also of the community at large. So it was very compelling to look at the sheer magnitude and the exponential increase of COVID contractions that we're experiencing, and that operationally is of high risk. So therefore, we've made some decisions to tighten up our protocols. That being said, I'd like to invite the mayor and suggest to the mayor that he conducts a discussion at this point with the council and determining, what I would suggest is, till further notice type of a situation review at the end of January. What the information that we have is telling us from Katie and also from the COVID response team in Central Oregon with the experts from St. Charles is we're expecting a peak around February 18th and have the Omicron start to ease at that point. So my recommendation to our mayor is that we continue our protocols for public meetings through the first meeting in February and see where we're at. I've asked Katie Plum to come visit with us at the January 25th council meeting, give us an update, and make our decisions as we collect more information. At this time, Mayor, if you allow me, I'd like to invite Chief Cummins to make any comments. Chief and I have collaborated on our operational risks as it relates to Omicron and the COVID variant. But Dale, if there's anything you'd like to add, anything I missed, I'd sure appreciate your input at this time.
No, sir, I think you said it well. You know, our concern with this variant is not that our employees are going to get real sick. It's just that our employees might have to take time off work in large groups because it's so contagious, and that's what's causing us the concern. So we're just trying to do our best to limit the exposure as best we can in hopes that we don't have groups of employees that have to be out at the same time. Thanks, sir. Thank you, Dale.
So Mayor's on his way back to his station here, but certainly I think the council, we'd appreciate, staff would appreciate some direction. I apologize in not moving quicker in the last week or so to make these changes. I know that was a hardship on the council and the public to move so quickly to virtual, but again, very much an operational decision with the health and safety of not only our electeds, but also our staff and again, the community at large. So Mayor, I'd like to hope that we can have a discussion about that and ultimately a vote tonight on some direction with our current protocol for our meetings.
Well, I agree with the, I've talked with you, we've had a little bit of discussion about it. I'm perfectly fine if we, for staff safety, and when I say staff, I mean all of the staff within the city. And, I'm very much open to that idea, at least 2 meetings, but we could still review, later in January or the first meeting in February. I don't know, but I'd like to hear what the council has to say, or what, any suggestions from the council, or?
I want to say, this is Patricia Youngman. Thank you, Steve, for taking the initiative and having this as a Zoom meeting. And I know we all like to be part of meetings and be out there, but I think you were very wise in doing this. And I fully support us going forward with the Zoom meetings, at least until February, and then reassessing is really a smart thing to do. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Steve Uffelman, and I concur. I think that using the protocol we're following right now is the appropriate way to move forward, at least into February, and then reconsider. But at this point, it's the risk is just too great for the numbers of people. So that's my position.
This is Councilor Law. I echo the same thing. Kind of like what Chief said, it wasn't so much the severity that we're seeing around, but just the people missing out on work. Not to mention, a lot of us have been doing this in our workplace for a little bit now, for at least like the last couple of weeks. So this is something that we're all just going to have to get used to and trying to avoid as much face-to-face as possible. So I'm in total agreement with the rest of the council and Mayor Beebe.
This is Councilor Merritt, and I agree with everybody.
Did we miss anybody? Did everybody get a chance to?
Janet?
Nope.
Janet, did you?
This is Councilor Hutchison. So Steve, I think you said that this was supposed to peak in mid-February or towards the end of February. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my understanding, and that was confirmed today, and also I think it's consistent with Chief Dale's information. Is that correct, Chief?
I'm sorry, sir, I missed that.
Oh, my information from Katie and others is they're anticipating, their modeling showing February 18th is the peak. I've heard that described as February 18th. I've heard it described as early February, and I just want to confirm with you that what you're hearing on the peak of this Omicron variant in the same range.
Yes, sir. St. Charles confirmed with me that February 18th or thereabouts was what they thought the peak would be in our area.
Okay, this is Janet again. Based on that, I'd like to make a motion that we keep the council meetings virtual and reassess it at our last meeting in February.
Councilor Hutchinson, Attorney Reed, I just wanted to clarify the motion. Are you motioning that the regular meetings scheduled for January 25th and February 8th be held virtually?
That's correct. Yes, thank you for clarifying.
Yep.
And then we'll reevaluate it at our second February meeting. So that should be virtual also.
Okay, so you're moving to have the next 3 meetings to be virtual.
Yes, so that way we can get past the peak and see what happens and then make an assessment at that time.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is Steve Uffelman, and with that clarification, I will second the motion.
So we have a motion and a second to move the next 3 meetings, the end of January and the 2 meetings in February, to virtual. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I will do a roll call vote. Councilor Uffelman,
Aye.
Councilor Hutchison,
Aye.
Councilor Youngman,
Aye.
Councilor Merritt,
I,
Councilor Law,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. So after that meeting at the end of February, we can hopefully have some data at that point and have a further discussion then.
Yeah, and just so for mayor and council, again, just a reminder, I expect Katie to give us an update in the January 25th. So we'll have some more data there. And I think my intention would be, unless I hear otherwise by consensus, is just to have Katie provide weekly updates. I'll forward those to you. So I'll do my best with Katie's help and St. Charles. I know Dale and I both participate in the St. Charles updates as well. And we'll just make a conscious effort to make sure that information is flowing to the leadership team and the council.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to council committee appointments, annual review. I discussed this today with Steve, and I should have brought this up in December, and I missed it. So I was hoping that everybody could review their committee assignments at this meeting, and at the next meeting, we could discuss any changes. If they need to change a committee appointment, we can do that, discuss it, or I can.
On the 25th.
Yeah, on the 25th.
Finalize it on the 25th. Yeah.
So, and if that works with everybody, we'll do that on the 25th.
Okay.
Great. And then our next item under council business is City Manager Steve Forrester's review. Hopefully by now you all have your packets. I put them in the mailboxes. I was going to put this date out, to have them turned in by Wednesday, the 19th of January. If that works for everyone, that's about another week, a little over a week from now. I can compile the information by Friday and have a report for council, and then we can discuss that at the next council meeting in executive session.
That sounds feasible.
And if for some reason that's not going to work for someone, just email me or call me, or if you send me an email, I'll give you a call. We can discuss it and make sure it works for everyone. All right, we'll move on to staff reports and requests. City manager's report, Steve Forrester.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a very short report tonight. The mayor stole a lot of thunder with his State of the City address, which I thought was good. Thank you, Mayor. But some really good news from Matt at the railroad. We just signed a service agreement with Salt Distributors Incorporated from Washington State to offload bulk road salt. The product will go to users along the I-5 corridor and the Portland metro area. This is another testimonial, if you will, to the long reach of Matt's marketing efforts and the unique characteristics of the City of Prineville Railway and our offloading capabilities. The first 2,400 ton or 24 cars should arrive in about 2 weeks from Utah. This business will utilize the conveyor equipment that we own and rail staff to offload hopper car rails at the freight depot. Our intent and Matt's intent, if successful, we hope this works into more carloads of salt this winter. And ultimately, we hope to have this as a repeat customer and part of our portfolio of business at the City of Prineville Railroad. So another great opportunity that Matt's capitalized on behalf of the city-owned railroad, and we continue to strengthen that enterprise fund. Secondly, Eric Klon and Caroline Irving and I, as you know, we're spearheading our efforts with our Prineville Renewable Energy Project, the biomass project that we've been working on now, and continue to gain support and interest in this project. Today, with the help of Caroline and the reaching out we've done, the help of Jacob Egler with Senator Wyden's office and BJ Westland from Senator Merkley's office, support from Nick Strader with Representative Bentz, we were able today to meet with Rose Stevens Booker. And Rose is the West Coast Regional Specialist from the Office of Intergovernmental and External Affairs from the United States Department of Energy. This is an appointed position that Rose holds for the federal government and the Department of Energy. She has a hotline to the Secretary of Energy for the United States of America. She was very interested and very, let me just say, excited about our biomass project. We had a very good discussion with her that lasted about 40 minutes. She also indicated and suggested that Mr. Egler from Wyden's office and Mr. Westland from Merkley's office send a formal invitation to the Secretary of the Department of Energy to visit and showcase the Prineville Renewable Energy Project. So having a U.S. department leader come to our town and hear about our project is a potential reality, which would be a pretty neat opportunity for us. Why is this so important? And it's because of the stimulus money, the infrastructure bill that passed in 2021. There's a significant amount of dollars that may be appropriate for this project. It could be a game changer for us. I can't say enough about the work that Eric and Caroline have done and getting this level of interest to where we are at today. And again, we continue to make good progress with this project in terms of the information we're putting together. And it's remarkable the level of interest we're having from our governor and now including our elected leadership at the federal level, as well as the Department of Energy back in Washington, D.C. So with that, I'd invite Eric Klon, City Engineer and Public Works Director, to make any additional comments about this particular opportunity we got to enjoy today. So Eric, anything you'd like to add, sir?
Eric Klon, City Engineer. No, I just think that was wonderful, the reception that we received from Rose. And I think that's very, very amazing that we could potentially have, you know, a director of the Department of Energy wanting to visit the city of Prineville. So yeah, that was great. And every month that we move forward, it seems to be more and more plausible, the project, more and more support. And like I tell Steve, we can have 1,000 people tell us no. We only need one person to tell us yes on this. So we're going to keep working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Eric. And great job. Kudos to Caroline, who's really spearheading our efforts to reach out and develop this level of interest. So that's all I had tonight. Mayor and council, is there any questions anybody has of me at this time? Thank you very much.
All right, we will thank you for that report, Steve.
You bet.
We'll move on to Combs Flat Road Extension Irrigation Modernization Project. I'm not sure who was taking this one. Eric?
Dr. Klon.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So once again, Eric Klon, city engineer with the city of Prineville. I also have Josh and Casey helping us with this project. So in the council packet, there was a staff report related to this opportunity. And I'd like to go through a quick PowerPoint and potentially answer any questions that the council might have. So we all know the Barnes Butte facility. That was 460 acres that the city was able to purchase 3 or 4 years ago. We're working on master plans and development plans for this site, and the opportunity is coming up potentially to pipe the canal. So we all know the Ochoco Main Canal wanders through the center of the facility. It's a beautiful amenity, but it's very, very dangerous. Open water is an attractant, and we just need to get this taken care of, and Ochoco Irrigation District has a plan to do that. So next slide. We've started the design of the Combs Flat extension. So one of the reasons why we purchased this piece of property was to extend Combs Flat up to Peters and give all of those people up in the Northridge area a secondary way to get to downtown. This slide shows the potential design of that road, and included in this road design would be the piping of the canal. So the canal would be piped adjacent to that new road. Next slide. So Ochoco Irrigation District may have the opportunity to pipe this Barnes Butte Main Canal. The benefits of that would be it would drastically improve public safety, supports the construction of our Combs Flat extension. They would be saving a significant amount of water. This would potentially allow us to increase housing with some of the areas west of this new road. And for the city of Prineville, cost savings, this would save us 2 to 3 bridges at about $2 million each. So that's a big financial incentive to try to move this project forward. The estimated cost to pipe this canal is $6.4 million. Ochoco Irrigation District is scheduled to receive about 75% of that funding. So this is PL 566 funds, so dollars coming from the federal government. They have not secured these, but with the passage of the federal budget, they should receive those. Those dollars require a 25% match, which would be 1.6 million. And what staff would like to do is just start working on trying to find funding or in-kind opportunities to move this project forward, you know, before we start pushing real hard on this project and getting out into the public. We want to make sure that this is something that the council would support. And obviously, you know, any future grants or monetary commitments would come back to council, but we just wanted to get you guys up to speed. And Josh and Casey, like I said, are also part of this project, and the 3 of us would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Eric, this is Gail, and I've had a lot of concerns about the canal. You've got the grade school right there. You have people walking there every day. They don't pay attention when the signs are out there that there's chemicals being sprayed, chemicals in the water. It's a hazard. Times have changed. Kids can't float down the irrigation ditch like my kids did when they were growing up. But yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah, and this main canal, at the end of the canal, it goes into a siphon, which is very, very dangerous. If you made it through the grates into that siphon, it would be all over. So we as staff would very much like to see this piped, and we'd like to start going after some funding to help Ochiko Irrigation do this.
Yeah, this is Steve Luffelman, and I'm very strongly in favor and supportive of piping that canal for the reasons that Gail mentioned. Also, just for the water savings that it will generate and the benefit, and then alternative use of the canal ditch that is presently there for some other kind of recreation.
Thank you. And, tonight we're not looking for a vote or anything like that. We just wanted to chat with council, and if there are any concerns, discuss those.
Eric, this is Janet. I have a couple questions. So you said in your PowerPoint presentation that it would entail grants and in-kind opportunities. So is that only grants and in-kind opportunities to move this project forward?
We'll look for everything. Obviously, if we can do this with grants and in-kind, that would be the best possible situation. If it becomes an issue where we have to provide some money to make the project go through, that would definitely come back to council. We'll just we'll prioritize the grants for the time being.
Okay. And do we know what the exact miles of canal that the city would need to move forward with Combs Flat and Peters Road?
I believe it's approximately a mile, just right under a mile of piping. And once again, that would be Ochiko Irrigation District doing the piping, which would then allow us to put the road in at a later date.
Okay. And I agree with Gail and I agree with Steve. This needs to be done, but it's always been my understanding that the piping of the canal is the irrigation district's responsibility. And although I do agree with you that it makes sense that we do both things together if we can, but in your staff report, you also say that there are other I think there's other owners that this project crosses.
There would be one other owner. Primarily, it would be the city of Prineville, and on the very far end, there's a private owner, and we and Ochiko Irrigation District are working with that property owner to obtain the easements we would need to have.
Janet, I can speak to that a little bit more. Those property owners are actually dedicating property for that, so we're not having to buy it as part of their development. It is a little over a mile of piping, plus it goes all the way down to the pumping project. It has to do with a lot bigger ramifications for the high switch project too, which is why they're doing the piping. But back to the money options, this is also a master plan project within our transportation systems plan. So the city, as part of its transportation STC, does allocate funds through that system for this. But since the city owns the majority of that property now, you can no longer count on the funds from the Iron Horse development that we currently own for the Barnesby Rec area to come in to help fund that, which is why we're trying to combine these two projects to help hopefully minimize that cost to us. If we were to do the road all by ourselves and let OID do the project all by themselves, it would cost both of us more money. So that's kind of the reason we're trying to combine the projects, combine it in our right of way, and we're kind of taking on this task of finding this match while they get the federal funds from some of this new money coming down. So that's part of the reason we realize it's kind of a hard lift. it's going to have to happen eventually, but we don't have that development background really forcing it. So it's just sitting there. And if we can take advantage of this situation, that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you for that. But in the staff report under housing, it says the realignment of current canal will increase the number of home sites available. And then the second bullet says it increases land values. So I was wondering, part of that is what the city is part of.
So what that does is, so that goes back to that SDC. So what this road will allow is an expansion of our traffic system to, because if we didn't have this large arterial coming through here, those developments it would be harder for those developments to develop. Simply because the traffic is getting too congested in the residential areas. This will open that up. Those homes will be built. They will then pay an SDC that will help us backfeed some of that funding. Without this, could they still develop? Probably, but they were going to have to be fixing other intersections. And basically, we'd be putting money into those places instead of into this project, which helps the entire community.
Okay, thank you.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. And thank you guys both for answering all my questions. I just needed more clarification, but it is a good project. I agree with doing it together, that it's a cost savings for both of us to do it together. I just hope we can find grants out there that could help with this and in-kind services.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we'll
discussed. Yeah.
We'll definitely work for those. And at the end of the day, it's a big cost savings for the city to get canal piped. We can avoid those bridges, which would be just absolutely wonderful. So we'll move forward with this. Just wanted to make sure council was aware. If you start seeing information in the paper, if you see us working on grant applications, this is what it's related to.
Eric, there's one last comment I'd like to make. This is Steve Effelman. We've been successful as a community because of our collaborative efforts with other agencies and entities within the community. And this working with Ochoco Irrigation District is a prime example of how we can do a better job collectively than each of us standing individually trying to work on our own project. I hope that there is possibly some skin in the game, that Ochoco Irrigation District does have some dollars available to as some portion of that match. So to show their efforts as well. So
I
Steve,
agree with that. And at the end of the day, if we can get this moving forward, the total cost is 6.4 million. That's a lot of money we can show as match for the construction of the road. So as we go for grant applications to actually construct Combs Flat, essentially the community has invested $6.4 million already, which should get us quite a ways in future grants for the construction of Combs Flat.
And if I may, Mayor, Steve, you make a great point, and I couldn't agree with that more. We're more successful working together collaboratively. To put a point on there to Janet's point, and making sure that Ochoco Irrigation has skin in the game, I'd like to point out that canal as it currently exists it's a right-of-way owned by the Bureau of Reclamation. So the Irrigation District has invested over $100,000 in working with the Bureau of Reclamation to title transfer that canal to Ochoco Irrigation District. That effort is coming out of existing funds within OID, which OID has a very limited amount of money to participate in these projects, but certainly we found a way, as you know, I sat on their board, to come up with those funds to start that process. By making that title transfer happen, which we're in the process of, and it has been green lighted by the Bureau of Reclamation, that will allow us to make that alignment that Eric showed us just a few seconds ago in his PowerPoint. So I just want to point out that already OID has put skin in the game. I realize $100,000 on this larger project isn't a lot, but $100,000 is a lot of money for the district. And so they do already have skin in the game, and certainly we're looking for ways to increase that participatory effort on the funding side. So great point, Councilman Effelman. I appreciate you making that comment.
So thank you. We'll keep you appraised of the project as we move forward. Appreciate the support.
Thank you both for the presentation. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Are there any council members that have a committee report? All right, we will move on to ordinances. Ordinance number 1273, granting OTC a telecommunications franchise. For the first presentation, City Councilor Jared Reed.
City Attorney.
City Attorney.
Yeah, close enough.
I meant counselor with an ER.
Thank you, Mayor. Jared Reed, City Attorney. Ordinance 1273, which is in your packet tonight, is for the first presentation for a franchise agreement with the Oregon Telephone Corporation, which, or OTC, as it's known as within the agreement. Present with the council tonight is OTC Operations Manager Marcus Bott. Mr. Bott will be able to speak with the council tonight regarding OTC's request for a franchise agreement. This is the first presentation of the ordinance, so if council does approve the ordinance tonight, it will come back on the 25th. After passage, it would then be sent to OTC for acceptance and then go into effect 30 days thereafter. From my understanding, this ordinance, not from my understanding, just for the council's knowledge, this ordinance was modeled after an ordinance or a franchise agreement that we previously did for the Zayo company. As Mr. Bott will present tonight, what the services they're providing are very similar to what that company is doing in the community as well. But I'll let Mr. Bott collaborate that or corroborate that. Mr. Bott, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I just wanted to kind of, I guess, do a brief introduction of Oregon Telephone Corporation. Can you guys all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Oregon Telephone Corporation, or OTC, our corporate headquarters is in Grant County, Oregon. Historically, we've been in business as a company for over 100 years, serving the Grant County area. And as we've grown, we started out with telephone services and have moved on to internet services. And with that, in Grant County, we're looking to establish alternate routes in and out of the county there. And so I think you guys are all pretty familiar that Prineville is a pretty well-known data hub. And so with that, that's part of the reason that we're looking to bring our fiber route towards the city of Prineville, to be able to get some interconnection points there for us to be able to better serve some of our existing subscribers. Along with that, we also look for opportunities to be able to serve places with fiber to the home. So in the city of Prineville, as time goes on, we would anticipate being able to deploy fiber services within the town there as well, and picking up some customers there. So that's kind of, I guess, a brief history of who we are at OTC. Do any of you have any questions for me or things that you would like to know about us or our company?
This is Counselor Hutchison. So does this mean with what you're proposing that you're gonna get better reliable internet to some of the rural communities out there in Grant County?
Yeah, so we'll be going through along the IZ-Paulina Highway is how we're coming into town, going through Paulina and then on into the John Day area. And then this is part of a larger project for us that continues on out the other direction towards Boise. So we're passing through several communities that we anticipate deploying better broadband there. And then obviously establishing redundant connections for us is always helpful for us to be able to provide a higher quality service.
So does that also include the area of, like, I know you said going towards Boise. Does it also include going towards like Long Creek and Monument and some of those other smaller communities there also?
So that actually is a project that we are doing. It's separate from this project. We were awarded a federal Reconnect grant to go that direction and deploy fiber in partnership with the city of John Day at Grant County Digital. So that is a project that we are doing. That's separate from this project, but I mean, it does kind of give an example of us as a company. I mean, we look for ways to be able to deploy fiber to areas that have poor service or no service.
Thank you for all the answers. I appreciate it.
Are there any other questions? All right, hearing none. Jared, is there anything else you needed to cover?
Not from my perspective. It would be open to a motion. And again, if passed for the first presentation, we would have the second presentation on the 25th.
Okay.
This is Steve Uffelman. I will move to approve ordinance number 1273 for its first presentation.
And this is Counselor Youngman. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 1273 for its first presentation. If there's no further discussion, I'll call a roll call vote. Uffelman,
Aye.
Counselor Hutchison,
Aye.
Counselor Youngman,
Aye.
Counselor Merritt,
Aye.
Counselor Law,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. So it passes unanimously for its first presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bott.
Thank you.
Right, we have no resolutions, no visitors' appearances and requests. So we will adjourn. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jared, but we will adjourn and then go into executive session.
That's correct, Mayor. We will be adjourning to go into executive session. The council will not be reconvening into regular session, so we will just be taking a 5-minute recess, or at least I suggest a 5-minute recess. And then if counselors can log off this meeting, and you should have been given Zoom information to sign on to the executive session. And so just re-sign on, and then we'll be able to reconvene for that session.
All right, perfect. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to adjourn and reconvene in 5 minutes. Does that give everybody enough time?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll reconvene in about 5 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Well, we're adjourned. See you all in about 5 minutes.